Great Wolf and the cluster. Okay. So we got our first big cluster. Map 3. Another cluster. Look how fast this map is. That's crazy. I'm starting to get pretty good at knowing which way to go for the boss. I can do these maps in almost 1 minute flat in some cases. God, I hate this map. This boss is so annoying. The reason why people don't do it. Oh yeah, I almost forgot. This this glove is fairly common. Another side drop to get. It gives about 600 dust and it's worth like 80 C. And that's just even more currency to be made. These gloves are like a tier 1. Specific to the A-bomb drop. Oh, that was a real one. Currency map. Double reality fragment. Money. Money. Love it when that happens. Alright, do I gotta talk about how I haven't got a cluster jewel in a while? To make one spawn? Gem cutter prisms. Clockwork. Like clockwork. I was died from a volatile core there. Gotta pick up that scarab. It's fun for eye level 84 clusters and uber fragments. Almost exclusively those. But yeah, I mean clusters are fragments, I guess. So. Ooh. Super consistent drops. Hey! Now if that was a headhunter, that would have been nice. Hey, whoa, dude! 2 off of 1 round. Oh, that's really rare. Damn. That was like 9 divine. Instant cash. I don't know the last time that happened. Holy crap. F21 should be okay. Oh no! Oh, a 3rd one in the same map. Ooh. This map is goated. You can't keep getting away with it. God. I mean, that's what we're here for. I mean, that's basically everything. That's everything. Everything we go for. I just needed 1 Grand Eldritch Ember on the side. What's up, guys? Snoo here. We are farming today. Some serious farming. Sometimes you do a farm, you're doing maps, you're doing it for the love of the game. You enjoy the game, you're doing things, maybe some jackpot stuff. Maybe the currency's good, maybe not. And then there are times when you get down to business and you do it for the grind. You do it to make as much currency as you possibly can. And you find a situation in the market where the market is begging somebody to pick up on a strategy that makes sense. And what am I talking about? Let me just alt-tab a second and show you. My friends, we have a situation on our hands. I did the cluster farm T17s day 5 of the league. Okay, the cluster was worth half as much as it is now. I'm talking about the mana reservation efficiency of skills cluster now at nearly 5 divines a piece. Yeah, there were some other clusters that were a little bit more. Excuse me, let me fix this here. Okay, there we go, that's proper. Yeah, there were some other clusters, like the minion cluster was worth more, not so much now. There's still some that are good. I have, I think, a total of 6 clusters on my filter. The 50 chaos and above, or the 12 passive clusters and above, they'll be listed on here. And then, of course, this lovely cluster here for nearly 5 divines apiece. I did 20 maps of this last night and made crazy amount of currency. It made me realize that I need to do a side quest. I just need to do a side quest. I had no intention of doing this farm, but, you know, if it's going to be this good, I'm just going to do it. All right, and you're welcome along to join for the ride. I don't know how many people would have to jump on this farm for it to mess with the market, but I'm telling you what, the market is clearly starving for this. Now, what we're going to do today that's a little special is a bit of a trip down memory lane. Before, when I used to run the cluster farm, we did it with the fragments in mind too. I'm talking about the reality fragment. So if we scroll down here, we'll see that also in the current state of the market, the reality fragment is in massively high demand at 165 chaos apiece. To go for any other Uber fragment, it drops off significantly. The devouring fragment usually competes with this one. It's only worth half as much right now. Of course, if I go down to blazing fragment, it's way down from there. So clearly, Uber Maven is way more desirable than any other boss fragment, and the reality fragment is an annoying one to farm. Usually you're either doing it on Ziggurat or you're doing it on Abomination. And you know what people aren't doing? They're not doing Ziggurat or Abomination. They're not even doing tier 17s, because everybody's basically doing 16s and 16.5s. And so that is how we've arrived at this situation. Nobody's farming clusters anymore. Nobody's farming Uber key fragments. And as a consequence, they're in giga high demand. So I'm all giddy to jump on this farm. I like doing it. It's not necessarily what I want to do right now, 3 weeks into the league. I want to do some bigger and badder things, but hey, I'll tell you what, this is actually a pretty hard farm to execute because we're going to be doing Abomination boss rushing in 100% deliriousness, which I've done before, but takes a pretty spectacular character to do. Sure, you can rush the A-bomb boss, non-deliriousness, on a decent character. Sure, you can farm item level 84 clusters. You can do either one of those farms easily. But to do both of them at the same time and essentially lose nothing, have no downside otherwise, that's another story. So if I rush the Abomination boss, get the reality fragment, and I get a whole bunch of clusters on the way without really losing any time at all, especially given that there's an Atlas passive that gives me an extra round of cluster rewards, I actually come out ahead, if anything, in that process. Also, if I farm clusters, but then I go all the way to the boss room as opposed to just cycling around the map for 5 rewards, I instead just rush to the boss room. Again, not really losing any time on either end of the farm. So when you put these two together, whew, it's a lot of currency in a short period of time. So let's look at the Atlas first. We got, as you could probably guess, Delirium. We're forcing Delirium mirrors, and we're going to need it to be Unending Nightmare. This is how you force maximum cluster rewards. Every single reward cycles over and gives you a huge amount of clusters, and it tapers off dramatically after the first few rewards, which is why we're not going to full clear the map. If we full clear the map, we're losing currency effectively. Unless, of course, I spawn the Grand Eldritch Ember altar, which I think I will do. So that's a little bit of a side thing. I will full clear the map if I happen to spawn that. Did you know those are worth 10 chaos apiece right now? Grand Eldritch Embers. So I'm going to do this. Plus, I don't want to do Eater side because I'm going to be running so fast, I'm going to miss the minions. I need the minions to spawn immediately in my face. So that's why we're doing that. That's a big reason why. Now, as far as Delirium, we're also taking some extra points for extra rewards like a Compulsive Hoarder. And unlike earlier this league, I'm taking Imagine Pursuit. Want that extra round of rewards. Still doing this one. I think this is the most flexible wheel. It's not super important here. Going to be getting some borrowed power from Nico and Shrines, because why not? I'm not going to stop and do any other league mechanics. No way in hell. I mean, this is super fast. Every map, less than 2 minutes, basically. And so my goal here is to run 100 maps in 3 hours flat, if possible. If I can do that, then this is going to be some pretty mind-bending currency gains. Still prioritizing scarabs a little bit. The reason I'm doing that is because it's tier 17. Sometimes you spawn a scarab node on there or currency. I'm not gunning for that, okay? I have a regex link down below. My regex is focused primarily on quant, minimally focused on quant. I just don't want a trashy tier 17 map that's low quant because that matters for how many Uber fragments drop. That's the only reason I care about that. But then also I want the map to be relatively easy because, yeah, 100% Deli A-bomb boss is pretty psychotically hard. So I don't want it to have a whole bunch of EHP mods. I don't want it to have AoE, regexed off AoE, because that, I don't know, if you've ever done that boss fight with monster has 100% increased AoE, that's pretty You know, either you win immediately or you'd fail. So I regex that off and a couple other things. But, you know, ground effect stuff, anything like that, that's okay. So feel free to, you know, take that regex from the description if you'd like. As well as path of building and everything for this build. Of course, still running Tornado Shot, Fizz Cold conversion. And yeah, basically, yeah, it's just some increased effect modifiers, Shrines, Nico, Delirium, Scarabs, Searing, Exarch. Some of the minimal stuff. Just minimal stuff, basically. I've switched back over to the Frost Ambusher. I'm in the middle of working through this, but I got 3 curses here now with increased curse effect. Lucky, I got Skitterbots still going on. I got a whole bunch of increased or driving down enemies' resistances really hard. That's kind of what I'm working on. It's still a work in progress, but just letting you know where that's at. Oh yeah, crafted a new belt recently. This belt is a stand-in if I have no headhunter buffs. So I'm going to throw a portal down when I go in the boss room. Sometimes I'm going to die on that boss for sure. And when I come back into the portal, I'll put this belt on and it'll give me a whole lot of extra player power, including an extra projectile and like 20% more damage reduction through Progenesis. That sort of thing. All right, moving on to maps and scarabs. So here's all the maps. You can see the quant is relatively high. I think it's like 130 quant plus for every single one of these. Some of them have currency, some of them have scarabs, some of them have pack size, some of them have maps. I don't care about any of that. If it's on there, great. If it's not, yeah. And then we're running quadruple paranoia with 1 mania. This really makes the delirium go into max 100% almost immediately when you open the map. And I feel like this is the best overall way to do it. You could run 5 paranoias. That'd probably be okay. Probably still going to be the hardest version of the boss, though, on the back end. Sorry, I actually forgot to include the investment cost for this strat. So let me tell you this in advance before we get too far into it. Map cost 40C a piece. Abomination is one of the cheapest tier 17s right now. I spent about 10C per map re-rolling. That's what the regex gave me, about 10C per map. Again, regex is not very not that strict, but not like super easy, I guess. And scarab fees were 11.4 div, 6C a piece for the paranoia scarab. It's been holding around there for a long time. And then 1.4 for Kirik bench. Around a third of a divine per map. 35.5 divines for 100 maps. Just to recap, we're basically target farming, reality fragments, and mana reservation passive clusters. That's going to make up 80 to 90% of the currency we gain. It's a very reliable drop. I'm expecting one of those clusters, those jackpot clusters, to drop once every 3 or 4 maps. I'm expecting a reality fragment once every 2 or 3 maps. That's basically it. It's just a grind fest. We're not hunting for any spectacular drops. There's just a couple of things that happen to drop on the regular that are worth way too much right now in the market to pass up. I don't know what else to say. So here's map number 1. Running all my reflect maps first. Domination on map device. Got the reflect here. Got the reflect covered here. And let's do this. One of the mid-tier clusters. This map forgot to spawn monsters for some reason. I should be able to get 5 deli rewards before going in, and that'll give me my 6. Sometimes I'll end up with 6 and I'll get 7. I'm basically not going to backtrack and clear any more of the map unless I'm really close to an extra round or something. This is pretty unusual to have only 4 rounds right now. But this is 100% deli. Everything gets really hard. Game monsters take, you know, like 80 to 96% less damage in this setting right here. So, yeah, it's pretty wild. And we'll go in here. We got a ghosted boss. That's lovely. Yeah, there it is. Pretty tough. But if I got down that far, that's fine. So here's what I do. I'll do that. Makes it easier. Pop all the cooldowns. Okay. This boss by himself is pretty easy. It's the mini bosses that are really crazy. There you go. Wrong fragments. Map's done. Repeat. Oh, in order to repeat, I should probably bring all my maps over, huh? That would be smart. No big cluster, a couple of medium ones. So now we'll grab all of these. These are all of my reflect maps. Cut them off like this. Boom. Okay. Here it is. We have the aftermath. All of the preliminary data in front of you here on the screen. Well, it's basically all in dump tab A. There's a tiny few things in dump tab B. I said that I would be dropping a mana reservation cluster once every 3 or 4 maps. I figured it'd probably be closer to 4. Turns out I dropped one in every 5 maps. Maybe a little unlucky. Not 100% sure, but 20 mana reservation clusters. But I got 27, 12 passive, 84 lightning cluster. 9 raw divines was more than I expected, but I kind of forgot that, you know, I had a lot of high quantity maps, so a lot of currency rolls were in there, embedded in there as well. 41 reality fragments seems okay. Okay, you know, you always hope for like a 50, I guess. The spread here, reality blazing synth, is 41, 42, 46, so not terrible. Not terrible. 4 of those gloves we talked about before. 2 Valdos boxes. A few other fragments. Devouring fragments 9. I feel like 9 devouring fragments is actually lucky on those, for what that's worth. 8 exalts, an awakening scarab. So actual outlier loot. You see there's not much of anything that's really outlier. Oh yeah, stacked decks because I drop 1 every round. We had a few Grand Eldritch Embers. Didn't get as many as those as I thought I would. 1 Horn Scarab of Awakening. I mean, there's a lot of Scarab maps. A 21-0 Discipline is a lucky drop. So I guess that's the first, like, actually lucky drop for 150C. Wrath, 21-0. Yeah. There's nothing in here that speaks to any sort of real good fortune. Just good old-fashioned grinding. Like, this is all predictable loot. Could have dropped something. I did see a lot of unique belts, actually. Not that many, I guess. But anyway, that's the full list. And yeah, it shouldn't be that hard to liquidate this. We'll see how it goes. I'll try to get rid of all these things. Maybe it'll come out lower because I don't know if stuff's actually... basically, it depends on what the small clusters are truly worth right now. If they're worth more than 4.5 div, then I'll do really well. If they're actually worth less, then... I don't know. We'll see what the number... 197 is what it says up here. The reality frags, I'll get more out of them. All the fragments I should get more out of. The clusters I'll probably get a little less out of. Let's see. 19 at once. 19 times 55. And I didn't think chaos were actually worth over 50. Yep. There you go. Selling something overpriced in bulk, apparently. The chaos clusters were supposed to be the last one to sell, or one of the last ones. Is there a trick to keep merc live? Yeah, kill everything before your merc even gets threatened. The trick to keeping your merc alive is dying before your merc dies. That's my strategy. That way you have the merc every time. I mean, you have 6 portals and your merc has 1. So, I mean, that's a more favorable strategy anyway. I know. Sometimes you got to go big brain on it. Have 10? Yes, I do. You gonna give me 44 divines for 10 of these? Let's do it. Why? Because I never do. Because I don't liquidate everything. I used to not liquidate at all and just like, just took it on faith, you know? All right, here we go. Well, I managed to showcase liquidating clusters. I figured that'd be nice for you guys to see. I know there's been some skepticism about cluster farming, liquidating. Got to see a lot of people buy them one at a time, and a few people buy them 10 or 20 at a time. And so that's how you do it. Honestly, I don't just sit there and try to liquidate clusters. Usually I do other farms, and I just wait for the messages to come to me over time. But anyway, there it is. I've liquidated most of the clusters. There's still a few left, which I'll sit on for a while, I guess. But as you can see, the number is now 204 divines. And there's everything left the way it was. I mean, I don't really need to show that again, I guess. Here's a breakdown as it were. Investment 35.5 divines. Remember, almost a third of a divine per map. Gross 204.8. A little bit extra coming from 5 originator mausoleum maps, which I valued last time at 40 C apiece. And I will be valuing them at baseline 40 C apiece when I run them eventually. Okay, gross is there. Then the net is 169.3 divines. Div per hour and map are backwards, actually. Whoops. Let's fix that. Yes, okay. 1.7 divines per map, and these are some blisteringly fast maps. A few of these I ran in less than a minute, apparently, but some more. Some I went for 6 rewards, some for 7. Some I died, some I didn't, you know, so. Total div per hour, 48.4. Definitely feels very comfortably over 40 div per hour right now. And again, I feel like 20 of those small clusters in 100 maps is pretty bad. Like, actually, I think that's like on the low end. But I mean, it's pretty consistent either way. I wouldn't really expect much more than like 25. Definitely no more than 30 would be like really lucky, for example, and it wouldn't make a huge difference. But guys, this is what it's like, you know, to just see the hole in the market and boom, just right then and there, change your plans for the day and do this farm. Could easily make a mirror in a day doing this right now, at least if you got in before the market shifted on it. Yeah, I don't know what I'll say in the title, maybe 40 to 50 div, probably 40 to 60 div per hour. But again, this is snapshotted in time. So it could be, you know, it obviously could feel a little misleading if you saw this video a couple days from now and the small cluster is worth 2.5 divines instead of 4.5. Does that make the farm bad? No, definitely not. It would still be lucrative. Somebody was asking earlier if I would do this farm again without killing the boss, like, you know, on day 5, a video I already made. Yeah, it'd be really good. Be really lucrative still. I might make, you know, 3/4, at least half the profit. Probably 3/4 of the profit, I'd say, if you just ran it that way again. So yeah, let's get into some final thoughts. Yeah, so the last thing I'll say about the farm is it is very difficult to do this farm. That Abomination boss at 100% deli on almost any character is just psychotic. You know, you either blitz down those mini bosses super fast or you fail almost. I did keep pulling this cool little belt I crafted that gives me a lot of extra survivability and damage in for Headhunter when that was the case. But I mean, I wasn't fishing Headhunter buffs. I typically went in with like less than 10 buffs anyway. And it worked out fine sometimes. I could have regexed the maps harder, so you could do that. But that would increase your investment cost a bit. You know, spend instead of 10 C apiece, 20, 30 C apiece. You can make those bosses way easier, definitely, to make that farm a little more tame. But I don't mind either way of it. You know, just farming the reality fragment would be pretty good without delirium. Farming just the clusters, even better. You know, without killing the boss. But combine the two if you can. Wow, that's pretty good. Pretty good. So I don't exactly expect a whole bunch of people to jump on the bandwagon of this farm, but a lot of you do have, you know, stuff where you're doing like some crazy hard farms anyway, and you're running, you know, like 10k plus 20k ES build already, and it's, you know, it is something you could probably do. You probably can run through the map fairly quickly. So, give it a try. It's a nice change of pace. Gets you back to feeling like you're, doing a little bit of work for a living. And then maybe come back the next day to the farming, more of the fun stuff after, the market is kind of equalized on this. Because this definitely, the market's super lopsided on this right now. And again, I feel like this happens every few weeks for this farm. You know what? I wouldn't be surprised if I come back 2 weeks from now and we're right here again. Like it's just sitting here waiting for the taking. Wouldn't surprise me one bit. So that's probably the best lesson to some of you is when you see a video like this on a strat that's taking advantage of a market that is lopsided and the streamer makes a video. It's not necessarily the best idea to immediately jump on it 1 or 2 days later, but catalog that session, that farming session, and then keep an eye on the market, what it's doing, and then take advantage of it when the time is right. That's kind of what I did, and so this is what it looks like. If you have any questions, let me know in the comment section down below. This is, to date, the most lucrative farm that I've done, definitely, in terms of absolute numbers. Although I do think the pilfering strat, on the long run, when you count all the drops on there, it can challenge this one, actually. But we'll see. We'll devote a few hundred more maps to that, at least one more time, I think. Some extra fun tech videos coming out. I'm going to talk about this belt, how powerful it is for this build. Clearly the most powerful flask bar I've ever had on any build. History when I put this on. You wouldn't believe the total summation of power that I get from these flasks and tinctures right now. I haven't even sat down and calculated it. It's going to be absurdly strong when I actually do sit down and calculate that. But anyway, yeah, we'll look forward to that video. Hope you guys enjoyed this cool little side quest farming session of 100 maps. And we'll see you guys in the next video. Catch you later. Yeah, I don't think there's anything else to show right now. Wait, where did I put my belt? Did I just dust my belt by accident? Bruh. Kind of unsafe to leave it right here. It's not that hard to make, but Jesus. I almost didn't check, dude. I was about to log out. I was gonna be gone. I would have been so devastated. I wouldn't have even know. I would have had no idea. I would have. Well, okay. I would have logged into the VOD and looked at and witnessed the Messiah's grand sacrifice to the gods. I guess. Oh God. Yep.